It's great to be here. We get to talk sales, right? We get to talk sales, isn't it? Sales was the last thing I wanted to do. The only reason I got into sales was because I could not afford auto insurance. I have blown so many sales calls, it's amazing. But you stay in the game. I kind of let you drive. Whoa, that's radical. I'm going to let you drive. Now, I still can grab the steering wheel. I know where the road is. I know where we're going. But I'm going to let you kind of feel like you're in control. Hey, my time is valuable, okay? I'm not going to waste it if you're not a big opportunity. But I was willing to stay in the game for 18 months.
How do you fix that fear of rejection?
You found that there's a need to adapt to different personality types, or can Mark Hunter always be the same regardless of if he's dealing with the marketing VP or if it's the CEO? What can you tell us about that?
Hey, come on. Let's go sell something. Let's make it happen.
Mark Hunter, thank you for joining us.
Hey, it's great to be here. We get to talk sales, right? We get to talk sales, isn't it?
I'm so excited to geek out on sales with you, Mark. I said to you off air, I was talking about you in a conversation the other day, and they referred to you as the GOAT. So I'm excited to pick your brains. Mark, I'm going to hit you with a big open question to kick off. Who are you, and what problem do you solve?
Well, I'm known as the Sales Hunter. And yes, Hunter is my real last name. People ask me, what was your name before you changed it? No, it's always been Hunter. So I owe that to my parents. The problem I solve is helping salespeople find and retain better prospects that they can close at full price. That's pretty simple, right? Hey, it's really about creating relationships, creating authentic relationships in an AI world, and allowing salespeople to uncover problems to help people.
Nice. And if salespeople are listening to this right now, what are the takeaways that we think we could give them today? What are they going to be leaving with that's going to help them be better salespeople?
Yeah, the takeaways are really pretty simple. Stay in the game. Stay in the game. Your objective, your reason you do this is because you want to help others see and achieve what they did not think was possible. That's what your objective is, because that's what we do when we sell something to a customer. Sales is not what we do to people. Sales is what we do for people. But to do that, you got to stay disciplined with your time. You can't get distracted. Nobody is going to buy anything on one call. It's going to take a series. It's going to take it. You have got to stay in the game long enough to be able to really be able to create a connection, to be able to create a relationship. But then you know what? Things happen. It's amazing.
I love that. Consistency is something we've been talking about recently. So I just wanted to ask. So when I go and sit with a family at Christmas, I tell them, they're like, "What are you doing now?" And I say sales. They typically say sales is a dirty word. Why are they wrong, Mark?
Well, they say it's a dirty word because that's how they've been treated. I mean, there's a stereotype of salespeople. They're trying to jam something down somebody's throat. Hey, when I first got into sales, that's what I thought it was too. I did not. My backstory is really kind of funny. I did not want to be in sales. Sales was the last thing I wanted to do. The only reason I got into sales was because I could not afford auto insurance. I'd gotten too many speeding tickets, and I could not afford auto insurance, and I had to find a job that supplied me with a car because I couldn't afford a car. And it was only after I got fired from my first two sales jobs that my boss sat me down, third company, third boss. I thought I was going to get fired from that job when he called me into his office. And he said, "Mark, you're not connecting with your customers. You're not taking the time to develop a relationship. You're not understanding. You're just trying to sell them stuff." And deep inside my heart, I admit it, that's what I was doing. I was treating customers like bowling pins. My objective was just to knock them down, take their money, and run. And that's not the way you build. That's not the way you build sales. Sales is a beautiful profession because it's helping others see and achieve what they did not think was possible. What's not to like about that? To me, that's a kick. That's a kick in the pants.
So, Mark, let's imagine someone's got their first sales job. They've been pointed in the right direction of where their target customer is. What's working at the minute to book meetings and get in front of people?
What's working in the moment is to be yourself. First of all, everybody thinks everything is all AI driven. And hey, great AI tools out there, great tools to help us uncover better information, to help us develop cadences, to help us do things. But it really comes down to it's a one-to-one relationship. It's you and I connecting. And how can I connect with you in an authentic relationship? And what's funny is professional basketball players. There was a basketball player, Michael Jordan, great. I still think the greatest basketball player. He made the comment, he said, I've lost more games than I've won. Whoa, what did he say? I've lost more games than I've won. In sales, I have blown so many sales calls. It's amazing. But you stay in the game. You stay in the game. I don't let a blown sales call faze me. So one of the things a salesperson has to do today is to make sure you retain that attitude of, you know what? Hey, I'm going to get something. I'm going to get something. I'm going to get something. Because here's what I found. Especially when you're reaching out, when you're prospecting, and people say, cold calling. Oh, cold calling is so evil. No, it's not. No, it's not at all. It's not at all. Because if I know I can help you, I owe it to you to reach out to you. Let me paint a picture of that. If I've got a problem, and trust me, if you were to talk to my kids, they would tell you, Dad has a lot of problems. So if I had a problem and you, Jack or Zach, could help me, I would want you to reach out to me. If I found out later on that you could have helped me solve my problem and you didn't reach out to me, I'd be disappointed. I'd be disappointed in you. You see, we do our customers a favor when we prospect. Now, they don't know. I wouldn't know that you could help me. That's why you're reaching out to me. So it may take several times. It may take a series of steps, series of activities for you to break through. But I'm going to be thankful you do. Because, again, you're helping me solve a problem that you can help me with.
So it sounds like then what you're saying is that the connection comes from, can I articulate the problem that you might be facing, rather than talking about here's me and why I'm so great and everything my company does.
That is so spot on, because again, hey, if anybody wants to know anything about you or me, they can just go to Google. They can just go to the internet, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there on us, okay? So that ship sailed. That ship is gone. For us to sit there and say, this is how many years we've been in business, this is what we do, forget it. No customer takes a sales meeting with somebody without doing some background research on them. We may be calling somebody and we're cold calling them. But what are we typically doing? We're calling to get an appointment, right? I mean, we're calling for that next step. We're calling. And before people really commit to that next step, or they may commit to the next step, but then before it actually comes, they're going to, again, Google you, go onto the internet, look at you. They have found that information out before they meet with you. So let's not waste the customer's time telling them how wonderful we are. This is how many years we've been in business and how many customers. And no, let's just get into it and have a conversation. I want you, the customer, to tell me about what's going on in your world, because it's not about me, it's about you. I'm here to help you.
So based on what you said there then, Mark, how would you run the perfect sales meeting?
Oh, the perfect sales call with a person, or sales meeting with fellow salespeople?
I would say like an initial discovery. So I've been on the phone, I've been on the blower. I booked you an appointment, Mark. You're going to sit that.
Yes. I'm going to sit there and say, hey, Jack, the industry that we're in, and I always put myself in your industry, it's going through a tremendous amount of changes. There have been a number of price increases and a number of customers that have been very vocal about making change. What are the changes you're seeing? I love asking people's opinion. There's something magical. Ask me an opinion. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna share it. And so I have found that's a very easy way to get a person engaged. Because here's what I'm doing. I'm trying to treat you as if you're a bobblehead doll. That's those little dolls that are on a spring and you tap the head and it moves. My objective is to ask you a kind of a question that gets your head moving, get you. And then I can just keep feeding you, because whatever you share with me about your opinion, I'm going to come back and ask you a follow-up question. That's the other key thing. One of the magical things is I always want to go into any sales call, any sales meeting with questions, 4 or 5 questions, 6, 7 questions. But you know what's interesting? I rarely get to all of them, because all you have to do is tell me one thing, and I'm going to ask you a follow-up question on it. Now, this is the magic thing, especially on, I don't know you, I don't know you, Jack. I'm talking to you, and you shared me something. If I ask you a follow-up question on that, Jack, you're going to go, hey, this Mark guy's kind of interesting. He's interested in me. He actually cares about what I have to say. And what am I getting? I'm getting additional information out of you. Because the real good stuff that you're going to share with me is not those initial comments. It's the comments you're going to make 4, 5, 6 questions in. So I kind of let you drive. Whoa, that's radical. I'm going to let you drive. Now, I still can grab the steering wheel. I know where the road is. I know where we're going. But I'm going to let you kind of feel like you're in control. Because ultimately, I have to know what you're looking for. And I can't unless I get you to feel absolutely comfortable about having a conversation with me.
And are there any other skills in your toolbox that you use to help guide you through that conversation? So any communication tools that you're big on?
Yes, one of the biggest things is this. So we'll say that I've had that initial discovery call, and there's something that you've shared with me. I'm immediately going to play back one of those things in an email or a voicemail to you. We get done with the meeting, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to send you an email, or I'm going to call you and leave you a voicemail or whatever. Maybe I'll send you a text message, whatever. Hey, thanks for sharing. Boom, boom, boom. I'm looking forward to our next call to be able to talk more about that. In other words, I always repeat back something that you shared with me. Again, what does that do? You feel even better about me. You feel, wow, this person really cares. And then when we start the next call, I've got my agenda, but I'm going to say, hey, Zach, last time we talked, you mentioned this, and I'd love to understand more. Could you share another example? Could you share something? See, what I found is this: short questions get you long answers. Let me share what I mean. You share with me something. Tell me more. Give me an example. Could you explain that a little further? Do you have some more ideas on that? And when I ask a short question, you go off and talk more. If I ask you a long question, which is typically what salespeople do, they go, well, because they want to come across as so brilliant. They want to come across so smart. And then the customer looks at them and goes, huh? Because they're confused so as a result, they go, I want to get this person out of here. I don't want to talk to this salesperson. Engage the customer wherever they want to go. They'll take you to the solution to the problem. And many times the solution is something they haven't even really thought of. That's the beautiful thing. But I can't uncover that solution until I've developed a level of trust with you. And the easiest way to develop trust is just listen, engage them, ask them questions that are relevant to them.
I really love that. The through line of linking all the conversations together is magical and shows that you're memorable and special to the customer as well, which is great. I saw you recently shared something about follow-ups, how important they are. You mentioned it earlier on in the conversation as well. So what would you like salespeople to know about follow-ups?
Follow-up. Hey, the best advice for follow-up is found in everyone's bathroom. Look on the bottle of shampoo. On every bottle of shampoo are 3 magical words: rinse and repeat. That's gold. That's gold in sales. I mean, that is gold. Now, here's what makes that work. Rinse and repeat. Now, rinse does not mean that you put the same shampoo back in your hair. You put new shampoo in your hair, right? But you repeat the process. Every message has got to be different. Every message has got to be different. But we repeat the process. I just closed a large deal, huge deal, one of the largest deals my company has ever closed in my CRM system. 46 touches over the course of 18 months. But every one of them was different. I never once said, hi, Checking in. No, I'm not expecting them to be a hotel. It's no. I'm not. Hey, are you ready to buy from me? No. I was bringing them value. I was bringing them new insights. I was bringing them new information. But 46 touches before we really got to a meaningful conversation. You know what's fascinating is the VP of sales, when I was able to connect with her and we began having meaningful conversations. We closed the deal in less than 3 weeks. And she even made the comment. She said, wow, I've never closed. I've never bought something of this magnitude so quickly before. But she said, I've learned all about you because of all the messages that you've been leaving me. Think about that. The sales process became part of the product. See, so don't think that your messages are falling on deaf ears. I mean, I was messaging her, whether it be a voicemail, whether it be an email, there were some text messages in there, there was some social media. Again, I was using every method possible in a very logical cadence. She was a VP of sales, major company, so I wasn't like calling her every day, but every few weeks, leave her another message, different days of the week, different times of the day, different. And like I said, it eventually broke through. But I stayed in the game because it was so significant. I knew the size of the opportunity. Now, if it had been a smaller opportunity, there's no way I would have stayed in the game that long. It would have been a waste of my time. Don't sit there and say, oh, I'm going to stay in the game as long as it takes for you to buy from me. Hey, my time is valuable, okay? I'm not going to waste it if you're not a big opportunity. But I was willing to stay in the game for 18 months. And it took her probably about a year to even get on my radar screen. Because I mean, I knew this company, but it probably took about a year of really research and kind of trying to figure out before I could really develop my strategy to really start reaching out. And once I did, it was still 18 months, 46 touches. The sale is made in the follow-up. The sale is made it. Don't think for a moment that, well, they haven't responded to me, so they must not be interested. Quick story. Had a salesperson who would text me like every other week. Every other week, this salesperson would text me. And I don't know why I didn't cut him off. I don't know why. I never once responded. Never once. This went on for probably a couple of years. I'm sitting in a meeting with my team, and we're sitting there talking. And suddenly we get going down this trail that we need this particular service. And I go, okay, you know what? There's this guy that's been texting me. He's really kind of a pain in the neck. But he's been texting me like every other week for probably a couple years. I'm going to text him. I'm going to get him in here. We're going to have a conversation. I gave him a massive order. Massive order. And yet for 2 years, he had never heard boo from me. It'd be easy for him to sit there and say, Mark's not interested. Well, Mark wasn't interested at the time. But suddenly when it became time, boom, he was sending me a text message and I responded and boom, bought.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in that scenario, it feels like people talk about unique selling points a lot, right? What differentiates them from the competitor. But it feels like in that scenario, your unique selling point was literally how you sell. That's what stood out.
Yeah. And literally, now think about this, because every item can be bought from multiple companies, multiple salespeople. It's really hard to say that somebody is so unique. So this means that we as salespeople, more important than ever, we have to stand out and we have to be unique. And you know what's interesting is if we demonstrate integrity, if we demonstrate authenticity in the sales process, that's what the customer is naturally going to think of the company. I was speaking with a gentleman yesterday, salesperson. He has a territory. He deals with retail stores. He calls on retail stores, sells them a number of things. He says, Mark, you know what's interesting is when an order doesn't go right, when something doesn't happen, does the retailer think of the company's name, or do they think of me? They think of me. They think of me. I am the face of the company to them. So we are the face of our companies to our customers. We can't forget that. we owe it to those back in the mothership, you know, the company headquarters. We owe it to them because we are helping them by being the face of them to our customers. That's it. That's a critical link we play. And to me, that's cool because again, the better I do my job, I'm helping feed the kids. I'm helping feed the kids. I'm not only helping feed my kids, but I'm helping to feed the kids. If that doesn't jazz you when you wake up in the morning, something's wrong. Something's wrong with you.
I absolutely love that, and the unique selling point that is, it's the way that people sell. Mark, I've heard a rumor about you, and I don't know how true this is, but I'll share it, and you can tell me if there is any truth to the rumor. Is that okay?
Go right ahead.
I heard that I don't know if you still do, but you used to prospect on the weekend.
Yes. It's very easy. It is very easy. And you know who I love prospecting? Senior level officers, senior level people in companies. Now stop and think about this for a moment. And I've only had one time that this is blown back on me. I love sending emails to CEOs and senior level people on Saturday mornings. Whoa, what is that all about? Here's the thing. Senior level people, CEO, owners of businesses and so forth, they don't stop working on the weekends, especially here in the U.S. they don't. Monday through Friday, they're working in the business. On the weekends, they're working on the business. They are probably going to a soccer game on a Saturday morning. Soccer, that's that other version of football that we play here in the United States, for kids. And here's the deal. The mid-level manager is also going to a soccer game. Now, when I mean soccer game, that mid-level manager is going to coach their kids because their kids are playing junior soccer and they're coaching their kids. The senior level person, the CEO, and so forth, is going to watch their grandkids at the soccer game. But while they're at the soccer game, they've got their phone out and they're scrolling. Again, it's just natural. I love emailing senior level people on Saturday morning. Hey, I just read this article and I shared just a couple bullet points. Thought you might be interested in. What I'm doing is I'm sharing with them a piece of information I read about their industry, the news. It may be, a Bloomberg, or it may be Financial Times. It may be something of that nature. But I never attach the link. Now, the reason being is because senior level people will never open a link. But what I'll do is I'll say, hey, look at Financial Times, and here's an article, and I'll just recap like 3 bullet points. So it's real short. It's the text message has to follow what I call the one swipe rule. If I can't read it one swipe, it's too long. It's too long a message. But I'll send that to somebody at 6:30, 7 a.m. in the morning, and it's amazing. I get a response back at 9 or 10 a.m. or something. Hey, thanks for sending that to me. And then I'll respond back and, hey, great. Knew you'd appreciate seeing that. So I get this little dialogue going on the weekend. Now, I'm not sitting there saying, hey, are you ready to book me? Are you ready to have this mini work? No, I'm just creating this relationship. And then like the following Tuesday, I can call them up and say, hey, wasn't that a great article? Yeah, that was a great article. And it's amazing how that can lead to the meeting. I love doing the same thing on Friday afternoons. Friday afternoon is the best time to call senior level people. Again, they're working. They haven't backed off, but it's a little more laid back. I have more conversations with mid-level and up people on Friday afternoons than probably any other day of the week. Yeah. And also it's because every other salesperson out there, they're lazy. They're getting their hair cut. They're putting petrol in their car. Hey, come on. Let's go sell something. Let's make it happen.
Do more and do it consistently. I love it. And so people listening to this will, what we found when we go in and we do big training sessions for salespeople, people call at the level that they think that they belong. So actually getting people 20, 30-year-olds to call up C-suite on a Friday afternoon let alone reach out on the weekend. The fear. How do you fix that fear of rejection?
Yeah, I mean it's a real fear, and I used to have that fear. First of all, I don't know about you, but have you seen a headline? Have you seen a news article that says salesperson got mauled, lost an arm, or got stabbed, or got murdered because they made a sales call on a Friday afternoon? I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. I'll tell you what, you will earn more respect faster when you make those calls. You will absolutely earn those respect. First of all, age is totally irrelevant. It really is. It's can you come across in a genuine, authentic manner and deliver some value, deliver some insights. This is why I always love leading off with a piece of information about the industry that they're in or something of that nature. Why? Because it demonstrates to them that I know. And hey, with AI, there's so easy to get knowledge. I mean, all you do is go to any AI tool and say what are the 5 issues people in this industry are faced with right now? Boom, there you go. Okay, now it's going to be kind of cheesy, but you can really very quickly put some meat behind it. Oh, here's one that's interesting. Let me Google that real quick, and there's some interesting. And it's amazing how intelligent. Now, don't fake you're intelligent, because again, you're asking a question. You're just engaging, but it's incredible what you can share. I'll give you a quick example. There was a COO of a major Canadian company that I was attempting to reach. Had not been successful at all. Not been successful. Because the gatekeeper. Now, first of all, it's not the gatekeeper, it's the door opener. You got to change your attitude right there. So it's the door opener. But I was calling the door open. The door opener was never letting me through. Finally, one day, I saw a Google alert that their main competitor, the COO of this company, their main competitor had just bought another company. And I happened to have a little bit of intel on that. So I immediately called the COO. Now, here's the technique I did. This is so great. Call people at the top of the hour. I call it the 58-2 window. 58 minutes after the hour to 2 minutes into the hour. It's a window to call. Now, here's why. So many senior level people, and really anybody, they're in meetings back to back to back to back to back. And most meetings start at the top of the hour. So the one time that they might be available is right at the top of the hour when one meeting ends and they're about ready to go into the next meeting. And what happens many times is, and this is what happened this time, I called this person right at top of the hour. He answered the phone. Now, I know that door opener was there. I know that door opener. But you know what? The door opener thought that this call coming through was the COO's 11 a.m. call. No, it was Mark Hunter, salesperson calling. He answered the phone and I immediately said, hey, I just saw this happen and I've got some interesting insights as to what might happen next in the industry. Now, it's interesting. He was in Montreal. The next day, I'm sitting in his office, in his private office, having lunch with him because of the value of that phone call. Now, let me play out how we got there. I called him. I said that, and I could tell he was caught off guard. I said, hey, I apologize. I'm probably catching it. Yeah, he says, yeah. I said, how about if I call you at 4:30 today? 4:30 is not going to work. How about 5 o'clock? So I called him at 5. And that's when I had that conversation. Now, what's fascinating about that conversation is that he actually honored the time. How many times have you called somebody and you said, oh yeah, we'll reconnect today at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and then they purposely pick a time that they're not going to be there, right? Because they don't want to meet. They're just going to ghost you. Senior level people don't do that. Senior level people actually show up, and he honored his commitment. He was there for that 5 o'clock call, and that's when I asked him that question. And like I said, the next day, then I had to hustle because he said, hey, I got tomorrow, lunch open. Well, I mean, I'm not going to turn down a COO of a major Canadian company. I paid dearly to get on an airplane to fly up there for lunch the next day, but I made it. And it wound up being an incredible deal. Senior level. Yeah. Now I got to share one funny story. I was wanting to do business with a particular company. And my team and I, we'd arranged a great deal. The VP of sales was totally in line with us. And it was a company, major company, and they were facing with a major issue. And the major issue was they were having a couple competitors come into their marketplace. And they were afraid that they're going to have to reduce their prices and probably lose salespeople to the competitor. It was painful. And the VP of sales was all in. Mark, I want you to come in. Here's what I want you. Here's what you're going to do. And we laid out this big program. Send the contract over, and everything was all set. And in fact, we need to stop using the word contract. Use agreement. Agreement's a much softer, easier term than contract. So anyway, he said, "This is great. I just got to get legal to sign off on it." Send it to legal. Legal looked at it and freaked out because of the dollar amount. They went to the CEO of the company, showed it to him. This is what your VP of sales is spending money on. Suddenly, my phone rings out of the blue, and it's the CEO of the company on the phone. I've never talked to the CEO, never have talked to the CEO. And the CEO goes, "Hey," and he mentions the person's name, got this contract from him, and "Your fee is way too high. How much are you going to reduce it by?" Now, I'm on the phone with the CEO of a company, very good sized company. Never talked to him before. And I immediately got to think fast on my feet because I'm like, "Oh, great. How many times, reduce your price?" I go, "Well, I can't reduce my price. All I can do is change the value you can receive. How much business do you expect to lose from the new competitors coming in next year?" Then I was silent. And it seemed like about 3 hours went by. It was probably only about 7 or 8 seconds. He comes back and says, "That was good. You're hired." I didn't reduce my price at all. I stood firm on my price. Just because I was talking with the CEO doesn't mean I didn't believe my price, because my price was an investment the company was making to solve a problem. These new competitors coming into the marketplace, this big issue that they were facing. See, we can have any conversation with anybody in any company if we know what the challenge is, the problem is that the company has. That's our goal. Uncover the problem and go for it. And don't be afraid of who you're having a conversation with. I wound up having a terrific relationship with that CEO. The only thing that was upsetting was the guy retired a year later. Like, man, I wish he had stayed around for, anyway. So,
have you found that there's a need to adapt to different personality types, or can Mark Hunter always be the same regardless of if he's dealing with the marketing VP or if it's the CEO? What can you tell us about that?
yeah, you've got to adapt. I tell you what, and this is an art. It's not a science. It's an art, because again, there are some people that you're dealing with that may want to go down a little bit of a personal road. They want to have a conversation about the weekend events or what's happening. And there are others that no. I always let the customer guide me. In other words, I'm gonna stay absolutely business focused. But if they start going down a separate path, I'll go ahead and go down a separate path with them. And I've had this many times. I was in a situation the other day where I was talking with the owner of a mid-sized company, and we're gonna develop some business here with them. And right at the end of the call, and I can't remember. Oh, I know what it was. His company is in a city that I used to live, and I thought I just kind of mentioned that. Says, yeah, I said, "I'm not sure where you live, but years ago I used to live in Egan." And he said, "Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize you used to live here in Minneapolis." I said, "Yeah, just for a couple of years." And for just about a minute, we had a little bit of a casual conversation about the Minneapolis area. It's a major city in the States and a particular suburb that I used to live in. And he used to live in kind of an adjoining suburb. So that was a little bit of a personal conversation that I led off with, and it connected nicely with him, but I didn't bring it up until the end. Because again, I didn't want to disrupt the flow. Because again, I'm here to talk business. I want to talk business with you.
And is there certain questioning strategies that seem to land better than others? Certain people who need more paraphrasing and mirroring, and what have you learned about that?
Yeah, you always want to mirror, and the easiest way to mirror is just by repeating back a little bit of what they shared with you. For instance, you're saying, "Hey, is there any example of mirroring?" And I may come back to you and say, it's interesting, mirroring. How have you used that process? In your sales calls. So I can kind of throw that back to you as a little bit of a question. Now I'm going to do that as a soft question, but again, I'm just looking to engage, just get a conversation going. I want you to see that I'm human. If you can see that I'm human and I'm real, it's amazing at how much more comfortable you're going to be. Because what's interesting is we uncover the best information in the discovery phase. The discovery phase, I think, is the most underutilized because we race to get to the demo. We race to get to the proposal. We want to race for it. And I go, oh man, the reason deals stall out is because we didn't spend enough time in the discovery phase. Because in the discovery phase is when you tell me the truth. The discovery phase is when you share with me what the real problem is that the customer's got. That's when because what happens is if I don't learn key information and we begin this negotiation phase, the dance, it's too late to uncover information. It's too late because everything I learn now is going to be a bold-faced lie because we're negotiating. But if I can get this information out during the discovery phase, that's when I'm really going to, go back to this example I shared where I was talking with the CEO during the discovery phase is when I was able to ask the VP of sales, how much business do you think you're going to lose? And what how real is it? I got him sharing with me, wow, this segment, we're going to lose this, and here's this, and so when I began to hear that, I go, okay, this is a real problem. This is not just, somebody having an itch. This is real. And that's the beautiful thing. But if I had waited to try to uncover that when the CEO is on the phone and looking to sign the contract, the agreement, would have been too late. I would have had to have caved on my price. Yeah.
Price is such a funny one. So I think that story is like a brilliant example because obviously people will come to us and at the end of the call they'll say, "Do you do discounts?" And the answer is no. It's I think people forget that you could just say no to a question. So it's a funny one. So salespeople typically cave at that, and there's all this stuff going on with rejection and mindset. One of the things that we think about a lot is motivation. So you've worked with salespeople all over the world. What have you found to be the best thing to motivate salespeople?
Wow. Okay. We got about 3 hours here, right? Here's the situation. Managers, relax. There's nothing you can do to motivate your people. Whoa. What did he just say? Yeah, there's nothing you can do. All you can do is create an environment for the salesperson to motivate themselves. Because really, motivation is totally internal. But let's back up the bus a little bit. Let's unpack this. First of all, salespeople, it's not the product you sell. I could care less what product you sell. It's the outcome you create for your customers. I see so many salespeople, they get hung up on, well, if we just had a better product, we just had a product similar to that company, we'd be totally irrelevant. You're just helping people. Your whole objective is helping people. Now, for you to motivate yourself, I want you to celebrate the little wins. What's interesting is in any sporting event, there's a scoreboard, okay? And that's we want to put goals or points. We want to put whatever on the board. That's our quota. That's our sales quota. Totally get that. But we don't get that without running the plays on the field. What are the activities we got to do? So I want you to back up the bus, and I want you as a salesperson to break it down and say, what are the activities? What are the activities you have to do? And that's what you celebrate. Because so many times what happens is salespeople get demotivated because, well, I'm not making my quota. Well, it's because you haven't been making your calls. It's because you haven't been. But here's the situation. We wind up measuring too many different things. Well, this, and salespeople can get very. How many times have you ever had a set of directions, and they're just like there's 50 steps involved, and it just overwhelms you? It's just like, I'm going to get somebody else to put this together. I'm going to get somebody else. It was assembling toys for my kids. Oh, please don't tell me this. Oh no, please don't tell me I got this, 18 steps, 19 steps. It overwhelms you. So as a result, you get, what I want to do is I want to focus on the simple. So I want to have a series of activities that I'm going to measure, and I'm going to measure this every day. And then it's going to boil down to one key metric. For instance, for me, it's 5 conversations a day. I know in my business, if I have 5 conversations a day from people who can buy me or refer me, life is good. That's it. That's it. And there are going to be days that we're not making any new sales, but I'm having my 5 conversations. And I know that over a period of time, it just happens. So focus in on the activities. Second thing is this. Have what I call the 10 a.m. rule. The 10 a.m. rule. Set your smartphone, have an alarm go off at 10 a.m. That's not the time you get up in the morning. I would hope you're up before then. And the objective is by 10 a.m., you want to have accomplished something significant. You talk about motivating you. So many times what happens is people put the difficult task off until the afternoon. The prospecting calls. Oh, I don't want to prospect. So they put those prospecting calls off to the afternoon. And what happens is something comes up and they never get to it. So at the end of the day, without having to make the prospecting calls. And well, I'll just do it tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to set my objective where I'm going to accomplish something significant before 10 a.m. Because when I accomplish something significant before 10 a.m., I feel good. I give myself a hug. I go, I love myself. And what's interesting is that's going to motivate me. It's going to motivate me. Now, what happens is I'm motivated. I'm going to accomplish more throughout the rest of the day. But B, there may be a customer that suddenly calls you up and just rips on you. There may be something that goes wrong. But you know what? At least you accomplished something significant already. See, motivation has to come from within. Prospecting calls. I tell salespeople, hey, I can't prospect. Make the first call of the day to a favorite customer. And they're going to call, they're going to say, hey, Zach, thanks for calling me. Man, you guys are great. You guys are awesome. You guys are really good. And you know what's interesting? That customer is going to motivate you. That customer is going to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Now, if you have to call that customer 5 times in one day, you may want to look at a different job. Just saying. But this is what's cool. Here's another simple piece. We've all had compliments. From customers. Maybe you haven't, but your customer service team has, or other people have. Print those out. Print them out. Put them on physical paper right by your desk. There may be a call that you've had and somebody said really something cool. Write that down, print on a piece of paper. Have this stack of paper by you of all these. Ooh, this is cool. This is good. To allow you to realize that you do good stuff. You really help solve problems. Final thing, take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, and on the left-hand side, write down some of your best customers. And on the right-hand side, don't write down what you sold them. Write down the outcome. What was the outcome that you helped them solve? Now, that's also going to help you in terms of determining questions to ask. It's going to help you in all kinds of things. But having that, it's like, wow, look at these outcomes. We actually help people solve problems. Yeah. Motivation is totally internal. You just have to have the tools in place to help you motivate yourself.
Mark, this conversation has not disappointed at all. I've been following you for a long time. I've been really looking forward to geeking out on sales. So thank you for taking the time. There's rinse and repeat. I'm excited to get in the shower tonight and look at the shampoo bottles. That's the one that stuck with me. Mark, I'll ask you one more question before I let you go. What's the best sales book you've ever read?
Atomic Habits by James Clear. That's not a sales book. Whoa, it's a life book. Atomic Habits by James Clear. because sales is about the routine. You know what's interesting is, I'm sorry, I got to go on a little bit of a rant here. The most successful people are incredibly routine focused. I get to work with, I get to coach and advise top level salespeople, and they're all incredibly, they start their day the exact same way. They have the exact same routine. They just repeat, rinse and repeat everything. So the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, I can't stress it enough. It's absolutely gold.
It's a great book. Mark, if people want to check you out, work with you, I'm sure if they work in sales, they've probably already seen you on social media because you're everywhere, which is great. How can they get in touch? How can they find you?
Well, the website is thesaleshunter.com. And, but hey, all you have to do is Google, put into search, The Sales Hunter. And I'm all over LinkedIn. We post there every day. We got videos on YouTube. We got 2 podcasts, one, the Sales Hunter podcast, another one called Sales Logic, written several books. My job in sales is just to share, because I do not believe that sales is a solo activity. Sales is a team sport, and we all learn from each other. And that's what makes this community so wonderful.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Great selling. Take care.